is CTV News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Some Canadians are cutting back on trips to the United States. As a result, some American destinations are feeling the impact. Now, one business owner in Las Vegas is trying to win Canadians back with new incentives. CTV's Travis Fortnum has the story.
It's been about a year of heightened political tensions between Canada and the U.S., and in a border city like Windsor, many people say it's changed how or if they cross.
The way things are, I'm afraid to go there.
We used to, don't anymore.
I used to travel to the States all the time.
We're not ever going back there again. You know why.
For many, it comes down to politics and concerns about how Canada is being treated by the current U.S. administration. How come?
Because of Donald Trump.
The politics and everything that's going on.
Others say the math just doesn't work anymore, with the exchange rate and cost of living making U.S. travel hard to justify.
It's way too expensive.
I'd rather spend my money in Canada.
That pulled back travel is showing up in tourism numbers, with some U.S. destinations reporting steep drops in Canadian visitors. In Las Vegas, hotels are now trying a different approach, rolling out incentives designed specifically to lure Canadians back.
All the hotels behind me, they all want Canada to come back just as much as I do.
Derek Stevens, CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, along with the D Las Vegas and the Golden Gate, is betting a dollar-for-dollar promotion could help turn things around.
We miss Canadians. And for me personally, I grew up in a border town of Detroit and Windsor. And I got to see how close we really all were.
Through the end of August, Canadian guests at his properties get U.S. value at par, $1 Canadian for $1 U.S. dollar, regardless of the exchange rate.
I want to make sure that Canadians know you still have a lot of friends in America.
I understand why they're doing it. It's been really hard on American tour operators, the loss of the Canadian visitor.
But travel journalist Lauren Christie says even with incentives, he's not convinced enough Canadians will be won back.
I'm not sure that it's going to have much of effect. It may entice a few people going down, but anecdotally, from what I hear, people are just not interested in going to the United States this year.
No, I wouldn't go right now.
For many Windsorites, the deal's not good enough.
I still think it would be super expensive.
Mexican town on Mondays is money at par, and we don't go there anymore.
There's a principle here that as far we're Canadians. We're really passionate about Canadians, being Canadians and what it stands for, and we just can't stand what he's doing. It makes me very emotional.
Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
We'll have more on the U.S.-Canada relations a little later on in the show. Also tonight, when you dial 911, you expect help to be on the way and fast. But as ambulance demand rises across Windsor-Essex, EMS says the system is under growing strain and change is needed. Here's CTV's Sanjay Maru.
Essex Windsor EMS is pitching a change to how 911 calls are handled, saying better triage could help stretch limited ambulance resources as demand continues to rise. This week, EMS Chief Justin Lammers took the idea directly to Ontario's health minister, asking for trained clinicians, such as a doctor or a nurse, to be included in 911 dispatching.
Our healthcare system is under stress, and we need to get efficient in how we are dispatching ambulances.
If a 911 call could be transferred to a clinician, Lammers believes in some cases EMS might not be needed, or if they are, fewer paramedics could be dispatched. This wouldn't be the first time an EMS department in Ontario has adopted this type of model. Since 2019, Niagara Region has been leaning on the expertise of nurses to handle non-urgent 911 calls and determine the appropriate level of care.
You still need to go to the emergency department, but you don't need an ambulance. And so are you able to take yourself, perhaps later today with a family member or friend? Could your issue be seen in an urgent care clinic or in a walk-in clinic, or perhaps an appointment with your family doctor, whether it's same day or the next day?
We are in surge with influenza and hospital capacity. So when we have events that increase our call volume, we tip into a point of decreased resource availability, such as a code red or code black.
A code black refers to times when there are no available ambulances. In 2024, Windsor-Essex logged 358 minutes when that was the case. And last year, that total climbed to a projection of 540 minutes. At Windsor Regional Hospital officials say not every ambulance arrival requires urgent emergency care, and that better triage earlier in the process would make a difference.
We strongly support EMS in their proposal for this. There are times that people who arrive by ambulance are offloaded directly to the waiting room because their condition is stable and more predictable, and they're not in need of that urgent care.
Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
Claiming systemic failure, a Windsor father is suing the city of Windsor for $5 million. As CTV's Michelle Molesky reports, the grieving dad believes his son would be alive today if swimming had been banned at Sandpoint Beach sooner.
On May 18, 2025, 15-year-old Abed Al-Torkmani drowned in the water off Sandpoint Beach. Within a month, the city fenced the water off, blocking swimming indefinitely. By July, the Life Saving Society was ordered to launch an aquatic safety audit at the behest of the coroner's office. Now, Al-Torkmani's father, Mohammed, has filed a $5 million lawsuit against the city. His lawyer says the city demonstrated prolonged indifference to known lethal risks and repeated inaction despite prior deaths. Since 1980, 9 people have drowned off the shores of Sandpoint Beach, particularly on the west side, where there is a steep drop-off and a strong current. The city tried to restrict swimming on the western edge with fencing and warning signs. But Al-Torkmani argues Windsor relied on inadequate signage, fencing, and a buoy system known to be ineffective. And he says the city's alleged inaction were a direct, proximate, and contributing cause of his son's death. Windsor has yet to file a statement of defense, and none of the allegations have been proven in court. Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
After weeks of snow, ice, and unrelenting cold, a new winter problem is surfacing: a salt shortage. Stores are noticing an increase in demand, and some snow removal companies are sourcing salt from as far away as Egypt. Bob Belichico explains.
We are limiting it to 5 per customer, per house, per day.
The Home Hardware in West Windsor is limiting the number of bags of salt customers can buy.
We got 33 skids in yesterday, and I'm down to 12 already today. So, and there's 56 bags on a skid. We did give some skids to companies around the city.
But it's hardly enough to keep up.
I just moved here, so I thought, I know there's a salt mine here, so I'm like, how are we out of salt? How is there a salt shortage?
In a normal season, we salt about 24, 25 times. We're already at 25 times, and we have the worst month ahead of us.
According to a county official, Windsor Salt is rationing the amount of salt local municipalities can buy, and local contractors have no access. The town of Kingsville says they are experiencing operational challenges, especially with the recent snowstorms, because of the number of truckloads they can collect per week. As a precaution, the town of Kingsville has increased the ratio of sand mixed in with salt to treat area roadways. They've also reached out to neighboring municipalities to ensure that if one is short, the others can back them up. Companies we spoke with Thursday are dealing with businesses sourcing salt from the Toronto area, Quebec, and even as far as Egypt. The demand has resulted in a price spike.
From in November, prices being $132 a ton, we're up to $290. So the overall price is about a 220% from where it was originally. We're set contracts, everything's in line, and we have to eat it.
The shortage is a sensitive subject with bigger companies who decline to speak on air for fear customers will panic. Many echo the way John Tomasevich feels. The owner of CGM Landscape is feeling the stress of a longer than usual season, higher costs, and demanding schedule.
I was up for 42 hours straight, worked 25 of those hours.
We'll make it through. It's going to be a struggle to try to keep things efficient and be proactive with our salt usage.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
And as extreme cold grips the region, the city of Windsor is increasing supports for people experiencing homelessness. The city has added 24 new emergency shelter beds in recent weeks, bringing the total to 221 beds and rooms for individuals, families, couples, and pets. An additional 100 overnight drop-in spaces are also available for those unable to access a shelter bed. City officials say they will continue to monitor demand daily and adjust services accordingly. Growing concerns across Windsor and Essex County tonight over costs of the new green bin program. A petition is now circulating, but city officials say social media is spreading inaccurate information. Chris Campbell has the details.
Everybody was pretty much told that this was not going to be a cost to us.
Confusion is swirling over who pays what for the new green bin program mandated by the province. Some Essex County residents say they feel blindsided by the price tag.
It's just very frustrating.
A petition created Wednesday night is calling for an end to what it describes as a $189 green bin charge, and it gained traction quickly. Some asking if residents can opt out.
And that $189 is because it's for 15 months. They're billing for October, November, and December. And there's still people to this day that don't even have the bins, and they're being charged for it.
The petition is focused on Essex County municipalities, where the cost of the green bin program is being billed to residents. In Windsor, councillors say that's not the case.
In Essex County, the green bin, the organics program, it's being shown as like a separate line item. In Windsor, it's not. Windsor has always funded waste collection through the municipal tax levy. That's where we fund almost everything, right?
The City of Windsor issued a media release Thursday saying residents will not face a new or additional charge on their 2026 property tax bills to pay for the program, a program that's intended to extend the life of the region's landfill.
Now, obviously, we don't like mandates from Queen's Park or from Ottawa, but between complying now or paying, dramatically more later, I think this approach is definitely more responsible. It's more affordable for residents over the long term here.
City officials also note that while the program is delivered through the Essex-Windsor Solid Waste Authority, each municipality decides how it funds its share.
But in the county, we really did want to be transparent and say, this is how much the green bin is costing, instead of just lumping it in everybody's taxes.
Essex Mayor Sherry Bondi says costs for county municipalities were outlined in a report to County Council in December and reiterates that the green bin program and its price can vary from one municipality to another.
The $189 is a high bill because it captures the 2025 program as well. So it captures October, November, December of 2025. Going forward, we've been told it'll be around $150. Which is this is a significant amount of money for people in the community.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Meteorologist Gary Archibald has your full weather details coming up in 2 minutes' time. And the votes are in, still ahead, the nominees for the 98th Annual Academy Awards. With more on these bitterly cold temperatures, Gary joining us in the newsroom tonight. Gary.
Stefanie, the wind profile is pronounced. It intensifies over the next, say, 3 to 6 hours. That will take us into early tomorrow morning. The temperature profile will actually be technically at our warmest just after midnight, about -8. And for tomorrow, that will be our high, technically speaking, but it will just get colder from there. We refer to this being an abnormal temperature trend because we normally experience the daytime high when we've experienced the most daylight time, right? In terms of the duration of the sun heating up the earth, which in turn heats up the air, which we measure. -2.9 has an asterisk next to it because we reached that at around 4 a.m. and it's just gotten colder since then. Both the -2 and the -7 for a low are seasonal for this time of the year, but it just felt a lot colder during the daytime when we were up and about. Westerly winds sustained at around 30 km now, and northwesterlies in the next few hours with gusts into the 50s will keep things very chilly. And frostbite in just a few minutes is possible. By the way, the snowfall tallies in the next 24 hours, there's more snow potential there, maybe 1 centimeter to 3 centimeters possible for Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Kent. Most of it will lie to the north and east of us, lake effect snow coming off Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. The worst case scenario is you'll be caught in some of this snow if you're driving over the next, say, 6 to 8 hours between London and the GTA. Possible 5 to 10 centimeters is I think, likely. Overnight temperatures, -14 before dawn tomorrow morning. About a 40 to 60% chance of some flurry activity. Again, the northwesterlies are strong at about 30 to 40 K with higher gusts. And of course, it feels like about -22 to -24. So where do we go from here? And I mentioned the warmest temperature, about -8, comes in between, say, midnight and 2 a.m. Then it gets just colder. In fact, by the time we'd normally see our daytime high in the afternoon, at around 4 o'clock at this time of the year, we're seeing -17, feeling like -26 to -28. So it's frigid, to say the very least. So we'll see some sunshine, bitterly cold, as mentioned. Saturday, Sunday, clouding over and still cold, especially for Saturday, -14. Then -9. Some snow, a few centimeters on Sunday, -8, -9, -7, -12. All of those highs are below seasonal as we head towards the end of next week.
The tit for tat between Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump continues with a fresh blow. Trump posting on Truth Social late tonight that the Board of Peace is withdrawing its invitation to Canada. Canada previously said it would join in principle but would not pay the billion-dollar membership fee. Here's CTV's Abigail Beeman.
Mark Carney gets friendly with Quebec City's famous snowman mascot, Bonhomme, but won't answer questions about the state of affairs with a less friendly partner, the United States. The Prime Minister gathers his cabinet after a global tour that saw a controversial new trade deal with China and a speech at the World Economic Forum that was widely lauded, except by Donald Trump.
Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that.
But Canada doesn't live because of the United States. Canada thrives because we are Canadian.
A direct swipe back during an address with a more domestic focus on Canadian values and identity and the government's already announced agenda.
Now we need to execute fairly and fast.
The economy was the focus of day one cabinet meetings.
We're talking about affordability. We're talking about building Canada strong. We're talking about our sovereignty.
Ministers briefed by a number of special guests.
It's a huge responsibility to bring these voices to government, but what we're seeing is also a crisis. 2.2 million visits to food banks every single month.
If ministers are talking about the upcoming review of CUSMA, the North American Free Trade Deal, they aren't sharing updates publicly. Cabinet meetings continue here Friday inside the fortress that was once built for a feared attack that never came from the United States. Abigail Beeman, CTV News.
Mark Carney's Davos speech drawing sharp criticism from U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick today, a speech he refers to as whining from Canada. Here's CTV's Michael Couture now with what it could mean for trade and CUSMA negotiations.
Give me a break. They have the second best deal in the world. And all I got to do is listen to this guy whine and complain.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick called the Prime Minister's speech in Davos political noise. Tuesday, Mark Carney urged middle powers to band together against more powerful countries that use economic coercion. Lutnick warned those words will be remembered during this summer's trade review.
They have USMCA, which means 85% of the Canadian economy comes into the United States for zero. And there he is complaining that he's going to go to China and improve it.
Canada's finance minister pushed back on those comments.
Prime Minister said a lot of things that people thought, and he had the courage to say it loud. I think Canadians have understood by now that diversification is key.
Meanwhile, the reverberations of Carney's message continue to be felt with other world leaders.
I think we have a lot of Europeans who are in this first camp of multilateralism, whereas the American administration is driving multipolarity. And we're trying to make these two things meet.
Australia's treasurer called the speech stunning, adding it makes a powerful point about the old world order being over.
So the job for us, the job for our Canadian friends, is to work out how we can shape all of this change in our own interests.
California Governor and possible Democratic presidential contender Gavin Newsom also praised Carney at Davos for calling out the current state of the world, adding Americans need to do the same. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Several lawsuits have been filed against Toys R Us over millions of dollars in unpaid rent. There are at least 7 lawsuits from landlords who say they're collectively owed more than $30 million. Court documents show the toy store chain failed to pay rent for several of the properties it occupied in 2024 and 2025. The company has since moved out of many of those locations identified in the lawsuits and closing dozens of stores in recent years. A new survey suggests Canadian employers are expecting to increase salaries by roughly 3% this year. After speaking with 400 organizations in the fourth quarter of last year, the consulting firm found 16% of those responding say they're likely to make reductions, while 10% intend to increase their initial budget. Many of those companies say they're being cautious due to ongoing economic and trade uncertainty. Canada's main index rose on the strength of utility and telecommunications sector. In Toronto, the TSX gained 151 points. In New York, the Dow added 307, the Nasdaq also up 211. The Canadian dollar gained almost 1/10 cent. On commodity markets, gold is up almost $76 an ounce. Oil lost $1.26 a barrel. The 98th Annual Academy Award nominations were announced this morning. CTV's Adrian Case has more on who is celebrating and who isn't.
Sinners, the vampire horror box office hit, was released way back in April. It received 16 Academy Award nominations, the most ever in the Academy's 98-year history. Nominations include 3 for Ryan Coogler, Best Director, Best Picture, and Best Screenplay. On the film's acting side, a Best Acting nod to Michael B. Jordan, Best Supporting Actor for Delroy Lindo, and Best Supporting Actress Wunmi Masaku. If there's a film which can give Sinners a run for its money, that film is One Battle After Another. It garnered 13 nominations, including Best Director and Best Film for Paul Thomas Anderson. He's been nominated 11 times and never won one yet. His cast, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, and Tiana Taylor, were all nominees, but no nomination for Chase Infinity. Locally, made in Toronto, Frankenstein received numerous nominations, including Jacob Elordi, who played the monster, and Toronto producer J. Miles Dale in the Best Film category. And the wild ride continues for Toronto's Maggie Kang, whose K-pop Demon Hunters was nominated in the Best Animated Film category, and Golden was nominated for Best Original Song. 11 actors are first-time nominees, including from the film Sentimental Value, Stellan Skarsgård, Renata Rintsev, Inga Ibsdottir Lilius, and Elle Fanning. Sentimental Value received 9 nominations, as did Marty Supreme, giving star Timothée Chalamet his second Best Actor nomination in 2 years. He also heard his name called as a producer on the film. Rounding out the Best Film list, Bugonia, F1, Hamnet, The Secret Agent, and Train Dreams. Comedian Conan O'Brien will host the 98th Academy Awards on March 15th. You can watch them right here on CTV, CTV's division of Bell Media. Andrea Case, CTV News.
The Songwriters Hall of Fame has announced its class of 2026, and it's not ironic that a Canadian singer has made the cut.
It's like rain.
Alanis Morissette among the artists being honored by the exclusive club. Also on the list, Taylor Swift. At 36, Swift is the second youngest songwriter to be inducted, surpassed only by Stevie Wonder, who got it when he was 32.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
After coming oh so close to winning the World Series, excitement for the upcoming Blue Jays season is sky high.
They were a team that just kind of came out of nowhere. So can they repeat that? You know, hopefully.
Tickets went on sale this morning at 10, and by 10:15, the home opener had already sold out. Thousands of fans were waiting in the digital queue. The cheapest ticket appeared to be going for almost $150. Fans lucky enough to score a seat will be treated to a special pre-game ceremony to celebrate the start of its 50th season. The Jays will host the Athletics in March 27th opener. For one final look at the weather, let's return to Gary.
Stefanie, I'm calling for a very cold afternoon tomorrow, and it will be a sunny one, but we are in this polar air, and it's here to stay for at least the next 3 days. Temperatures well below seasonal, so make sure you're prepared for it. Early morning flurries between now and, say, dawn tomorrow morning, maybe 1 centimeter to 3 centimeters, depending on the wind profile. And then we get down to about -15 in the afternoon. Our high tomorrow will come in technically for the books at -8. We'll reach that around 2 a.m., but it just gets colder. Still cold Saturday, -14 with a low of -22. The wind chill on that day could be near -30. And then snow Sunday, -9. Then -8, -9, -7, -12, mostly cloudy with a chance of passing flurries through the midweek towards the end of it. Very cold and below seasonal. Do take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.
They may not be hockey players in real life, but the stars of heated rivalry are set to have a role in a major upcoming sporting event.
You will not be so nice when we beat you.
That's not happening.
Hudson Williams and Connor Story have shot to fame as two Major League Hockey players who find themselves in an unexpected secret romance. The show, made by CTV's Bell Media partner Crave, has garnered a lot of attention around the globe. HBO Max is streaming the series outside of Canada, and today confirmed that Williams and Story will be among the torchbearers for the upcoming Olympic Winter Games in February. Heated rivalry starts streaming in Italy a few days before the games get underway. That's your news for tonight. Thank you for joining us. See you right back here tomorrow.